our good friend Rick Grenell joins us tonight. He was one of the best members of the Trump administration. And thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure you got a lot to say. Go right ahead.
Look, I'm somebody who really wants to feel this moment and understand what's happening. And I think that the Democrats have forever changed our political system. Sadly, I fear that every president now is former president will be indicted, that there'll be political calculations and maneuverings, attacks on the rule of law. You know, one thing, Rob, that I keep hearing from the Democrats is that no one is above the law. And that is so crazy and ridiculous to hear from the party that created sanctuary cities, where they created entire cities to say that these people were going to be protected from federal law and that they would not be able to be kicked out or, removed from the country simply because we created this idea of sanctuary cities, a really nice name for an attack on the rule of law. So I'm saddened today that the political system has forever changed, but I also want to speak to anybody who has been maybe a DeSantis supporter or a Nikki Haley supporter or a Vivek supporter. Look, I think that it's really important to understand what the Democrats are doing to Republicans. And you're naive to think that this is just about Donald Trump. This is about every single Republican, anyone who challenges the power of the Democrats. And so I think that all the other Republican candidates should drop out tonight. They should announce their support for Donald Trump. We should unify as a party, and we should say we are not going to allow this to happen to the United States of America. I think for the people who maybe have been on the fence about Trump, maybe they don't like mean tweets or something, I think they have to understand that you have to stop asking Donald Trump to be a nice guy, because nice guys are what the Democrats want. They want us as Republicans to take this high road somehow. And they don't want a fighter. They don't want someone who is going to come in and change the system. So they keep calling for someone presidential or something. And I think they've got to stop.
They've been, for the last, at least 40, 50 years in this country, they've been dragging soft Republicans like Mitt Romney to the left. I mean, this country has moved so far to the left in the last 40, 50 years. It's just astonishing. They count on Republicans feeling some kind of guilt for the way that they vote or what they believe, and they feel like they can just drag you over. You need somebody that's going to fight. They might say all the right things, but they are vicious. We're learning that tonight. I want to play Michael Cohen on MSNBC just about an hour ago. Let's go ahead and play that.
So how about all of these genius pundits going on there talking about my credibility? So everybody wants to attack Michael Cohen's credibility. Well, guess what? All of the, once again, lies, misinformation, disinformation, malinformation that they are throwing against me will ultimately continue to prove that everything, that what I had provided was relevant to this investigation.
So that's the star witness for this indictment. As we've talked about, you can indict anybody. It takes nothing to it takes nothing to indict Donald Trump in Manhattan. That is for sure. This case is going to get eviscerated, and it won't take very long.
Yeah, I mean, look, what people need to understand is this case is going to fall apart. But the Democrats don't care about that. They don't care if it was a weak case. They want the circus. They want the power to rough up Donald Trump so that he can't run. Look, let's be very clear. The Democratic Party has indicted the opposition leader. And what I'm saddened about is, as someone who's spent 12 years at the State Department, we used to call this out in other countries. We used to condemn other countries that somehow indicted the political opponents so that they didn't have a race in public office. And now the Democrats have done it. They've taken away the ability of the United States to condemn this in other countries when it really does happen. And you know who's been cheerleading the entire way down is the media. We would not be in this position if there were enough reporters in Washington, D.C. that were putting the brakes on this system, that started when there were sanctuary cities talk to say, wait a minute, you got to follow federal law. You can't just create cities that ignore federal law. That's an attack on the rule of law.
Right.
We should have been much more clear. The media should have been much more clear about that. And now we're seeing the consequences of that. They are reckless. They're willing to do anything because the media allows them to do it. But once again, I want to give you a little hope. Republicans should unite. We should stop being distracted. Some Republicans who are distracted by scare tactics on abortion or trans talk. We should unite to understand there is an attack on dissenting information in this country. The Democrats want to control everything. Unite, get behind Donald Trump. That is the only way to defeat this system right now.
It's such a good point. And you make such a great point about our inability to condemn this in other places. This is something that is just fundamental. You don't throw your political opposition in jail or attempt to throw your political opposition in jail. You just don't do that. And it all ended when the left in this country took control of the media, as they've taken control of the education system, higher education, of course. As soon as they got control of the media, we've devolved dramatically in just a very short period of time. I mean, there's nobody checking the other side because they're all rooting for the other side. And we've come to a very dangerous place. That's a great point, Rick. And thank you so much for coming on.
All the best, Rob.